Hey guys, Ben Paynes here, and today we're back once again for another video at Teamsport Bristol. However, this time we're doing something a little bit different. We were invited today down to the track by the guys at Vertice Racing. Now this is a team that I have successfully joined for the 2023 season, and it's what I'm going to be racing for in a number of competitions such as SRK, Club 73, and I'm just really excited to jump in and get involved. So we got most of the team down and we're really excited just to show off with each other and just have a good time, have a bit of a bonding session, have a bit of fun. So the way that this session was laid out is that it was a GP event, so there was a 10-minute practice / qualifying session, and you're about to watch the fastest lap from that session now. And this was then followed by 2 races, where the first race was justified from the qualifying positions, and then the second race was a reverse heat from the first heat. So it was really exciting to get involved with, and it was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you do, could you please hit the like button down below, and if you are new here or if you've been around for a while and you haven't already, could you hit the subscribe button as well, as it really does help me out and I really do appreciate it a lot. So jumping into the qualifying lap here, you can see I gave myself a little bit of space here behind some of the other drivers, and I was just really willing to get into a decent position. And the car I was using, kart number 9, didn't have the best acceleration, so I felt the car was a little bit off and I was overtaken by quite a few people. But we do come across the line here with a 43.624 second lap as our fastest lap, and that did put us into 7th place on the grid, ready for the first heat. So let's see how we get on in that race. So here we are then, jumping straight into things. We are in 7th position here behind Sam Oatley and Jason in front of us there, and we're just trying to get a decent start under the green lights, which are about to go underway. And as a matter of fact, I did have a pretty decent start here, bogging down a little bit, trying to force the kart forward as much as I can. You see Callum Oatley there up the inside as well, so quite a lot of bumping going into the first couple of corners here, a lot of loading by everyone. So I was just determined to try and hold my position, hold where I was. You can see 3 wide there coming out of the Mickey Mouse. That's Alfie, Sam and Jason. I decided to dive up the inside of Jason here, a little bit of a barge out of the way, but I was up into 6th place, lifting myself up out of the seat to try and get a little bit more weight off the back wheels, just to try and get a bit more propulsion up the ramp. And we were situated in 6th position, so here we were then just trying to gain on some of the other drivers as well, trying to take some nice tight lines as well as we possibly could, just try to stay behind Alfie and Sam, and then just try and catch up with some of the others that shot off into the distance. So here we are then, just trying to get as tight as we possibly can. You see Sam going a little bit wide there, and Alfie looking for a bit of a move, and we come across the line now, first lap of 50.641. Obviously the track is still very slippy at the moment. It doesn't feel anywhere near up to scratch where it usually is, but it was still a lot of fun to try and master the karts and try and get in a decent position. So here we are then, down in 6th still, just trying to close up as much as we can, just trying to bridge the gap. You can see Sam there waving Alfie through, and I thought, well, I'm going to try and stick a move down the inside as well, so trying to stay as tight as I possibly could. But unfortunately Sam did just manage to get the exit speed out of the top right hand corner there, just to stay in front of me. Now this is sort of where I stayed for a majority of the race, in 6th position. And while the footage is rolling, I just wanted to explain to you guys how I actually joined a team in karting, because I think some of you will be interested, some of you will also be willing to do the same as me. So back in July, I was actually approached by some of the guys that were already in the Vertice team, which at the time was known as Home Move, and they saw my performances out on the tracks and the times I was putting in, and they asked if I was going to be competing in any outdoor championships next year. I replied by saying that I planned to. I obviously didn't plan to do Club 73 as well. This has just been a sort of impromptu decision, something that I want to get involved with as well. But I said that I was going to be taking part in SRK, and they actually offered me a position to join the team that they were in and join as an SRK2 driver. So in SRK there is an SRK1 category, which is all your best drivers, and then there's an SRK2 category, which is usually for drivers that are a little bit slower or drivers that are also new to the competition. So I was really excited to not only jump into SRK, but also to jump in as part of the team, which I was really excited about. So they then allowed me to join the team, and from that we've done a lot of different bonding sessions together, being able to just get involved and just really have a good time. Met a really good group of lads, and we all really get on very well. I am about to get interrupted.
Hello there.
I did try and send a little move on Sam Oakley there, but unfortunately it didn't quite stick, and instead I was able to leak a position to Jason, so now I was down into 7th place, which I wasn't too happy about, but we were willing to try and get the position back. As I was saying though, if you are new to karting or you've been doing a lot of indoor events, have a look at some of the outdoor events that could be near you, such as if you're down south like me, there's a lot of different activities, such as there's track days at Mansell Raceway, there's always a competition going on at Herefordshire Raceway, and it's just a good way to just get your name out there and just try and allow teams to sort of scout you almost as a driver, and it can really benefit you rather than just jumping into the unknown doing an outdoor competition on your own. It's always good to try and meet new people and just really get involved and get stuck in and have a good time with people. Obviously karting is a great way to communicate with others. Everyone enjoys the same passion and everyone is just always willing to help. Everyone's always friendly. So that's my take on it, and I hope that you have taken a little bit from it and that you too can also join a team in the future. However, we are going to jump back into the footage of the first heat, our last lap of 45.688 second lap there, and we joined with Jason absolutely snow ploughing Sam Oakley into the Mickey Mouse, and I thought it was my opportunity to try and get my position back that I'd lost from him, and maybe even try and make a move back on Sam. I decided to go really tight and almost park the kart on the apex because I knew Jason was going to try and bomb back through, so I was actually able to make a successful overtake back on Jason to allow me back up into 6th place behind Sam, who was actually defending really well in kart number 5, a kart that's known for not being up to scratch. So I was able to just stay behind him and just trying to find some sort of way past him, because he was defending really well and it was really getting under my skin, if I'm honest. So I was looking, one lap I was trying to get past him one way, another I was trying to get past him another way, and it just wasn't quite paying off, and I didn't really want to just bump him out the way because I thought that was a bit unethical, a bit unfair. So just tagging along behind him here, just trying to find a little bit of a gap, and we do actually transition here into the last lap of the race. So our last lap was a 45.933 and our fastest lap still of 45.688. so really just tagging along behind him at this point, just trying to find any weaknesses and where he's defending. You can see him looking over his shoulder quite a lot. He's holding the middle of the track quite well and actually parked it on the apex very well too, and I was trying to get a good run up the inside here, but unfortunately not getting a good enough run. I switched the outside to try and get a bit of an undercut back at this point, but there was the checkered flag raised, so I knew it was the last lap, and if I was going to make a move I'd have to make it now. So I just tried to get as close as I possibly could to try and get a decent run coming down the ramp, but unfortunately here he did cover it off quite well, and I instead just had to stick behind him here, just trying to look for a bit of a wider line to get a good exit down the main straight, but unfortunately to me I didn't quite make it. So we ended up the first heat in 6th position, our fastest lap, a 45.688 second lap. So I wasn't too disheartened by this. It was good solid position. Usually my luck at the moment recently has been down in the double digits. So we move on here into the second race. Obviously I said it was a reverse grid, so here I believe I was starting in 12th position. You can see the driver in kart number 1 there, Barry Lewis. He's actually the person that owns Vertice Racing, so I was determined to try and give him a good show, try and get ahead of him. You can see other drivers around him as well. He did get a bit of a jump start there. You can see Thomas Hughes on the right hand side getting a really good run here, and he actually goes right the way around the outside of a couple of people here, gaining a few positions. I didn't want to do that as well because I felt that he was going to get pushed out with the bit of a train, and you can see there Sam trying to send it down my inside as well. A bit of argy-bargy here, people all over the place, a lot of carnage on the first lap as always. You can see Thomas going down the outside has paid off. He actually managed to gain 2 positions, but unfortunately there Jason sending it down his inside. I did give Sam a little bit of a wave just to sort of rectify the wave he gave me in the first heat, just to sort of say I'm going now, I'm not letting you catch up with me again. And you can see Thomas there losing a couple of positions to Jason and Barry, so all the positions he'd made he'd actually lost once again, unfortunately for him. So I was determined to try and keep up behind him. I know he's quite a quick driver, and just try and follow him along through some of the heavier drivers that were up ahead. So we do come down the start finish straight here across the line of 52.086, so you can tell 2 seconds slower than our first heat, a lot more contact and a lot more carnage going into the first lap. So I was willing here just to try and push forward, not allow Sam behind me and also some of the quicker drivers that finished in the top 4 to try and follow me through. So I was determined here just to try and push on, make up as many positions as I possibly could to get the best finish that I could, because obviously all the drivers ahead finished behind me in the last heat, so I was just willing to try and make the positions up, to try and get a decent overall finish. You can see here just trying to stay as tight as I possibly could. A lot of people up ahead battling with each other, and this just caused me to close the gap on everyone. You can see people going really wide here, a lot of mishmash here, position changes, so I was able to really catch up behind Thomas Hughes. Our fastest lap now of 45.942, and really closed up behind Thomas. Here he goes, takes a little bit of a wide line here trying to get around Barry, and I was able to just slot down his inside here. He goes in a little bit deep there, takes Barry, has a little bit of a hand of rage there, that is able to allow me to snip up the inside as well, so able into the bottom hairpin to gain a position up into 11th place, which I was really happy with. Obviously, as I said, he was the team owner, so I was willing just to try and get past him and force my way through some of the other traffic that was up ahead as well. So just trying to take the middle of the track here, just to sort of defend from Barry a little bit there in case he tried to make the overtake back on me, but losing a little bit of time, but we're willing to try and make that time back up. Trying to stay as stable as I could through the bottom right hand corner. Obviously, as I said, the karts and the track was a little bit slippy, and I actually had the same kart that I had in the qualifying session, so I knew that it wasn't quite on the pace of some of the others, so I instead asked the head mechanic Connor if he could try and fix some things, and in fact he did, and it allowed me just to have that burst of acceleration a little bit more compared to how I did at the beginning in the qualifying. See there, sent it down the inside of Thomas, who was trying to defend quite well, but I was able to slip up the inside and park it once again on the apex I did with Jason in the first heat, just to try and secure the position. Again, going a little bit narrower to allow myself a little bit of breathing room from Thomas having a little bit of a lunge back down my inside, clipping the inside of the barrier there, so losing a bit of time checking over my shoulders, but instead I didn't want to look over my shoulders too much. I just wanted to stay looking ahead and try and catch some of the other people ahead of us. So we have Michelle up ahead of us at the moment, who I was just trying to catch up to and try and make a move on again. You can see the train really slowing people down through the Mickey Mouse section, which is always a blessing and a curse for me, because if you're in the train you're really going to get held up, but if you're just behind it you're going to gain so much time. You can see Michelle going a little bit narrow there and compromising her exit, so I was looking for a way past here. You can see her looking over her shoulder, she knows she's under threat now, and here I'm just trying to take a nice wide line to try and get a nice clean run down into the hairpin here at the top. I was able to lunge down the inside, a little bit of contact there, but I was able to beat her to the apex. I was up into 9th position again, a few bumps and bruises coming out of the second hairpin, but it was all good. I was up into 9th place now, a couple of positions gained. You can see Steve here in the blue suit getting swamped a little bit by Callum and Aiden up ahead, so I was just willing to try and follow him through. He goes a little bit wide here in the Mickey Mouse. I took a bit of an unorthodox move going up the inside into the first couple of corners of the lap, and that put me up into 8th place here, which I was really happy with. Yellow flags being shown. I believe that was a bit of a spin out behind, a bit of contact, so we had to slow down a little bit here, and I was actually tucked up here now behind Aiden, who was in 7th position. He actually won the SRK2 category last year, so I was really determined, to try and catch up to him and just try and make my way past him as quickly as I could. I know he's a decent driver, I know he's not used to Bristol too much, so I know I had that advantage on him, so I was just trying to close up towards him and Callum up ahead of me and just try and make a decent move. You can see how much time I gain on the bottom right hand corner just by taking a tighter line compared to other people. We come across the line there of 45.580 second lap, and now just closing up a lot more into the Mickey Mouse, trying to regulate my throttle as much as I can. Obviously a lot of people were just slamming the throttle down. It's causing the back end of the car to go all over the place, as that was the slippiest part of the track. But we come up behind Aiden here going up the ramp. He gains a little bit of time on us due to weight. Obviously my favourite excuse I'm going to mention in every single video this year. You best believe that's going away anytime soon. But really closing up here behind Aiden and Callum and just trying to tag along behind him, ignoring the carnage that's going on behind us. You can see Jason up ahead as well. I really wanted to try and catch up to him, as I knew he was a bit heavier than me now at this point, and I just wanted to try and overtake him if I could. Obviously, due to me doing the diet that I'm doing at the moment, I've been able to lose a lot of weight since BIKC, and it's actually helped my performance on track quite a lot. I feel a lot sharper, a lot quicker, especially going into the ramp sections of the track where I'm able to gain a little bit more speed compared to what I was used to. So here again we're just really tagging up behind Aiden here, and the little look over the shoulder gave me the confidence that I was putting him under pressure, especially as he looked right into my eyes there. You can see he goes really wide there, taking a really bad run into the top section of the track, and I pull off probably one of my favourite moves of the night, really diving down the inside, sliding the car into the apex and just no contact made, a really clean move. I was really happy, up into 7th position, and now bearing down on Callum Oakley, who's up ahead of me once again. Now we come across the line on this lap with 44.828, which was very consistent with our fastest lap, so I knew that I had a nice bit of pace here on some of the other drivers ahead. As I mentioned before, a train forming, which of course only means that you're able to catch up behind them and try and make some moves stick. So right up behind Callum here in kart number 20, I was trying to tag along as much as I possibly could, trying to take some tighter lines compared to some of the other drivers. Obviously staying in the train, they want to sort of stay in position, stay in formation to ensure that no one else sort of runs through, and you can see how much time we're able to gain through the top 2 hairpins, almost touching his bumper now at this point. He's looking over his shoulder, shaking his head as well, and this only means that I have more confidence just to try and make some moves. I look back once again as I knew Aidan was trying to look for a move past me once again, but we come across the line of 44.774, and now I'm inside the train, something that I didn't really want to be. I try and look for a little move around the outside, try and get a better run through the Mickey Mouse, getting a little bit of loading going on behind me with Aidan, so just trying to tag along behind. Obviously up ahead we've got Joe, Jason and Callum, so all reasonably quick drivers that I was willing to catch up to, and I gave Callum a little wave there, try and put him off a little bit. He knew he was under pressure there with that little bit of contact in the Mickey Mouse section, getting really tight to the top 2 hairpins just to gain as much time as I possibly could. Probably my 2 favourite corners on the track alongside the Mickey Mouse, just to try and gain a lot of time. You can see up ahead a lot of carnage there, a lot of drivers going all over the place. I was able to jump a position on Joe and go side by side with Callum down the start finish straight. A bit of a battle of chicken here going around the outside here, bumping into the back of Barney Williams, who's up ahead as well, having a little bit of contact. Unfortunately Callum was able just to force his way through on the inside. I gave him the room, but that did move us up into 6th position, with Joe having the unfortunate event of being collected in that 3-man pile-up up ahead of us. So another position gained up into 6th place, which I'm really happy with. Obviously starting down in 12th, we gained 6 positions so far, and I was willing to just try and catch up with some of the others. You can see Hagan on the left there going round the bottom hairpin there. He's really gained time, so he was up in first, no one was catching him. But up ahead we had Darren, Jason, Barney and Callum, and I was just really willing to try and overtake as many of them as I possibly could before the race was ending. I knew at this point that we were coming to the latter stages of the race, so getting stuck in the train a little bit here, having a little bit of a bump with Callum, forced him a little bit wide, but I didn't think it was too bad, so I just dived down the inside there as he gave me a little bit of room. So up into 5th position now, up behind Barney, Jason and Darren. So the yellow flags caused once again, and I think this was due to a bit of contact that happened in the first corner, so just trying to stick as close as I possibly could to the drivers ahead, just trying to make sure I didn't lose too much time, as there's always time to be lost under yellow flags, which I didn't want to lose. And the greens get underway, and I caught Barney napping a little bit here, really tagging along behind him, almost forcing him through the corners here, just sort of waving to Callum there behind me once again. You can see Darren getting spun out by Jason, so up into 4th position now, another 3 position gains. That's 2 positions gained from people spinning out on the bottom right hander. A bit forceful from Jason there, but it wasn't to my detriment. I was only gaining position, so up into 4th place now, and just really willing to try and catch up to Barney up ahead, and maybe even try and attack Jason if I possibly could later into the race. So just trying to get as good an exit as I possibly could here. Watching Callum behind me, I think I gained a little bit of a gap to him now at this point. I don't think he was on the pace on the evening, so trying to get a good run out of the right hand corner at the top section of the track into the 2 hairpins. I go for a little dive down the inside of Barney there and almost send myself flying out of the kart by going straight into the barriers. I did say sorry to Barney, a bit of a forceful move, didn't quite pay off, and Callum was able to slip back through. Barry was also trying to look for a way around the outside, but I did force him out there, so down into 5th position with that move, unfortunately. So leaks one of the positions that I gained, but I was just willing to get back on it, didn't let my head slip, and I was determined to try and overtake Callum once more. So trying to get through the bottom section, I felt like I had a lot of pace on him here. The only time where I felt that he had a bit of pace on me was up the ramp, getting a little bit of loading going into the right hand hairpin there at the bottom of the ramp, but just not letting that affect me and just trying to catch up to the drivers ahead that I'd lost a bit of time to here, just trying to stay as tight as I possibly could here, taking a bit of a different line compared to everyone else. Instead of braking and then turning in, I was braking as I was turning, which allowed the back wheels of the kart to slide round a little bit, and this gave me a better run leading into the second hairpin. But we do come across the line here, a 44.406 second lap, which is a reasonably quick lap, our fastest lap so far, and it really did show as I was really caught up to the back of Callum here, and also the other drivers weren't exactly pulling away from me. So here we go then into the right hand hairpin once again at the bottom of the ramp, really tagging along behind Callum. You see he's under pressure here, looking over his shoulder. I gave him another little wave, much as I did earlier, to try and throw him off. And here I was just tagging along behind him. He's taking a bit of a wide line going into the hairpins, and by extending the track that little bit, he was losing those crucial temps to me that I was able to gain on him, especially through the bottom right hander here. Really tagging along behind him, gaining the grip out of the bottom right hand hairpin, coming down to the start finish straight of 43.528, which is half a second quicker than any of our laps so far. So I really had some decent pace here. I didn't want to get held up by Callum too much here. I wanted to try and get past him and try and catch up to Barney and Jason up ahead. Obviously, as I mentioned, Hagen in first place had sort of raced off into the distance. So at this point the kart felt it had a lot of grip as well. I wasn't counter steering as much, I wasn't really out of control as much as I was in qualifying with the same kart. So I was really putting in some good lap times, some really fast lap times here, tagging along behind the back of Callum here. Obviously he's caught up to Jason and Barney up ahead as well. So I was really just trying to focus as much as I can to try and make a move back up into the position that I'd lost in 4th place. Obviously starting in 12th is a really big achievement for me. Usually I'm battling down in 10th, 11th, 12th. So this was really good for me and a real confidence boost going into the start of this season. So up behind Callum once again here, just trying to find some time on him as much as I can. See he has some decent run coming out of the bottom right hand hairpin there. Looking over his shoulder, I looked over my shoulder to realise that some of the faster guys from the first heat were also managing to fly back through the pack. So I didn't really want to let them catch up to me. You can see Callum getting held up a little bit here, and this really allowed me to close up the gap and really meant that I was able to think of a position to make a move on him later into the race. So obviously these were the last couple of laps now that we're coming on to. We come across the start finish line on this lap of 43.922, so really cementing myself into the 43 second laps here, going a little bit wide here to try and get a better run out of the Mickey Mouse and then onto the bottom hairpin. Obviously looking for a little bit of an overtaking opportunity, but unfortunately I didn't quite get the traction, so I did lose a little bit of time here. You can see Jason holding up Barney here, and this is consequently holding up Callum. He's looking for a way through as well, but not quite getting it, so he gets held up by Barney here on the top section of the track, and I was really looking for a way through. He gets thrown offline a little bit here, and I do just do another late lunge down the inside there. A little bit of a reckless move, but one that did pay off. I beat him to the apex there, did clip the barrier, but that allowed me to move back up into 4th place, which I was really happy with. And now I have my sights set on the 2 drivers ahead of me, Jason and Barney, once again, just trying to close up to them as much as I possibly could through as many of the corners as I could, just to try and get some decent traction, some decent grip, and just try and focus on getting the lap times down as much as I possibly could. Really closing up to them here, getting a really nice exit out of the bottom hairpin there, getting the traction down really well, and actually gaining time on the 2 drivers up ahead, which is something that I don't usually say going up the ramp, and really taking a nice orthodox line through the top 2 hairpins as well, just trying to stay as tight as I possibly can to the hairpins to try and maximise my exit going down into the big right hander. We come through here right up behind Barney now at this point, but you can see on the left it was in fact the checkered flag. So we do come across the line with our fastest lap of the race of 43.384, and we do actually finish in 4th position on the track. Now, to my surprise, when I came off, I figured out that because of the spins on the bottom right hander, Jason actually had been given a penalty, so this did actually put me up into 3rd place, and this also put me in 3rd place overall for the evening with combined standings, which I was really happy with. I didn't expect it, and it really was a huge confidence boost. However, this does bring us to the end of the video, so if you have enjoyed it, could you please hit the like button down below and subscribe for more in the future. I appreciate all of the support so much. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.